Jaune was now standing as he was looking at the flame in his hand as it dances and flickers. "Amber, please move on for me." He closes his eyes as the flames dispel, then he looks to the stars above as one of them shined brighter for him. "Jaune, until we meet again." He gave a silent prayer to her, then he moved to leave, but he saw 3 people rushing to him. It was dark, so he took a stance. But he left his weapons, so he experimented and created a sword made of fire, although it was of a crude shape. Then when the trio reached home, he relaxed, seeing it was only the people he loved. He quickly dispelled the blade. "Young Jaune." She rushed to him and gave him a quick embrace as Blake followed, although hesitant, but hugged him out of worry. "Young, don't run off like that." "Blake, yeah, you had us worried." He looks to Raven, who felt guilty for failing to protect him. He went to hug her as she was caught off guard. "Jaune, don't blame yourself for all that's happened. That power whore is the cause of all this. I'm glad you killed her." "Raven, Jaune." He broke the embrace as he turned his back. "Jaune, if you're worried about me moping around, relax. I'm doing a whole lot better now. I know where the Fall Maiden powers went." "Young, you mean the magic stuff that Mother has?" Raven looks worried for a second. "Blake, we heard from Ashbin after you practically chewed him out before. I never could believe he could even make that face." "Young, it was priceless." Jaune smirked the day he got Ashbin to spill the beans to his allies. "Raven, Jaune, what do you mean you know where it went?" "Jaune, when Amber died, her soul fought against the wishes of the Fall Maiden's powers as it was made whole with that wretch. Once she was dead, the power was gonna be given at random since her last thoughts were her killer's image. So it was about to choose someone when Amber's spirit, who stubbornly refused to let the thing that she became on with just torture another per soul, decided it would be better in the hands of someone she trusts. They were puzzled as he continues. "Jaune, I met with her here where she spoke to my troubled soul. We were able to say our final goodbyes." He began tearing up but refused to cry. "Jaune, and she left me with its power. The cycle has been broken. It's time to put an end to this sorry tale." As he turns, his eyes were wreathed in fire more intense than it was before. "Raven, you're Jaune, the night of the fall." "Young, it has a nice ring to it." As Blake banks her in the head, this was serious. "Jaune, let's head back. I'll have words with Ashbin." Blake took his hand. "Blake, we're with you." And Young took the other. Young, all the way. As Raven puts a hand on his shoulder. "Raven, forever." The group then went back to Haven to confront the old geezer. Headmaster's office. Ashbin. After he was torn down by Mr. Branwen, Hazel gave us all that he knows of her plans, But without the Fall Maiden in her hands, her plans have been derailed. Crow, don't forget that most of her pawns and her agents are gone. The only ones she have are that Mercury kid, Arthur Watts from Hazel's info, along with that nutcase Tyrion. Ironwood was listening through his scroll. Ironwood, I already put the word out through all CCT channels. They're at the top of the wanted list. They won't have anywhere to hide, especially in the kingdoms. Crow, good rats like them don't belong to any society. Then the door opens to show John with Raven, Yang, and Blake. Weiss, are you guys all right? Blake, we are, but... John walks up to Ashvin. Ashvin stood and tries to console John, but... slap. Ashvin was surprised that's the first time he was slapped since centuries ago. Crow did a spit take. Ironwood was just staring. Ruby was trying to stop them, but was held in place by Yang. Pyrrha and Weiss had their hands on their mouths. Ron was keeping Nora from joining in. Raven and Blake just had their arms crossed. Ashbin, Mr. Branwen, I know I have had the time to say this, but I'm sorry. Then a punch in the gut. John, you don't get to be sorry. You didn't give her a choice. Ashbin, I did give Miss Amber a choice. John, you gave her the illusion of choice. Damn the world if she accepts the burden. Damn everything if she refused. There was no choice. Ashbin. Raven, so it's true? We were never your allies, we're all your pawns? Crow narrows his eyes on Ashvin. John then released the powers of the fall. Everyone except Raven, Yang, and Blake were shocked as a small storm began to erupt in the confined space. Ruby, whoa. Weiss, what in the world? Nora, oh pretty. Run, easy Nora. Pyrrha, John. Ashbin, Mr. Branwen, you. John, have the Fall Maiden's power. Ironwood, how? Ashbin said the Maiden's powers only passes on women. John, Amber's last stand of defiance when Destiny wanted to screw with her. She battled the power with all the will she had and forced it to be given to me. It's all about breaking this damn cycle that you and that which is so intent on keeping. Ashbin, I never thought about it that way. John, you never did. Must be because you're getting too old for this. Crow just chuckled. John, regardless, we have 3 of the 4 maidens in our custody. Raven then comes forward. Raven, actually we have all 4. Ashbin, what do you mean by that, Miss Branwen? She unsheathed her sword and opened a portal. After a while, a familiar figure comes out of the portal which stunned the Branwens, Rose and Xiao Long, who were present. Ruby, M.M.MM Mom? As she began tearing up, the hooded figure removes her hood. Summer, Ruby, Yang, Crow, Raven,